All right, shuffle them up.
Shuffle them up, all right.
So give those a mix whenever you're satisfied. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. So, satisfied?
I'm satisfied.
Right. So there's this classic trick in magic called ace cutting. And in a trick like this, you might see a magician take a pack of cards, cut it into 4 spots, and reveal that he's cut to the 4 aces. Now, as magicians, we like to try to put the magic in the spectator's hands. Makes it a little bit more powerful. So over the years, this trick kind of progressed, that we'd give the cards to the spectator, they would cut 4 piles, and then we'd reveal that they cut to the 4 aces. So that was kind of the next level, right? Mm-hmm. Now, of course, this deck could be entirely of aces, right? It could just be a deck full of aces you would never know. And that would make the trick a lot easier. So it's important in this type of trick that you see that all the cards are different.
Yeah.
Okay, and in no particular order, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing too. It's important that as I go through here, that you see that the cards are in no order, right? None particular, and you just shuffle these, right? So that'll really prove, here I'll show the camera here, that all of these cards are in no particular order, all right? Give those a mix. So what I want you to do, just one last time, like I said, I don't want to know the order, you've seen they're all different. So I want you to give these cards one more shuffle. Just riffle them together, but don't push them together yet. Perfect. I'm going to show you. I just didn't have you push them together because I want you to see. You can see the mess here. You can see the mess of cards, right? As I push this all in, I really want you to see that they're shuffling. Mm-hmm. We don't know the order of these cards, right? Now, Taylor, what I want you to do is pick up this deck, cut off 4 piles just like that, wherever you would like. Perfect. So you happy with those spots?
Yeah, I'm good with those spots.
So you could have cut anywhere you want. You shuffled the deck, right? Watch. Take the first packet, push the first card forward, take the first card here, first card here, first card here, and you have cut to all 4 aces.
That's good.
Pretty nice, eh?
That's good, yeah.
What is good, guys? It is Reed, and welcome back to a super exciting video. This is going to be my ace cutting routine. I'm going to show you guys my Spectator ace cutting routine. This is the tutorial for that. I posted a video a couple weeks ago of me performing it. Obviously not nearly as good without the Spectator, but this is my favorite, and this is one of the best ace cutting routines I think you can do with the Spectator. It's so fair, so easy, and just absolutely mind-melting for the Spectator because of how clean and how fair it is. Some of you guys I know kind of figured it out from watching the video, you were saying, but trust me, you want to watch this. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of subtleties into this trick, and it's so good. I perform this all the time, guys. It uses a lot of cool ideas. It's going to use I guess it would be a switch idea or a little production idea that I first saw from Daortiz. He says he saw it from Juan Tamariz, and that Juan probably saw it from Vernon or Marlowe or something, but he wasn't totally sure, and I couldn't find who it was from, but that's as much as I know on it. It uses a little shuffling subtlety that I also got from Dani, and then the rest is all pretty much my ideas, putting little different ideas from different ace routines and putting it together into what I deem the perfect ace cutting routine. I have not seen an ace cutting routine that gets too much more perfect than this in terms of a Spectator ace cutting routine. It's shuffled, impromptu, anytime, anywhere, no setup, and man, does it kill and does it look so good. There are no weird movements, no weird dealing, flipping, any of this stuff that you typically get with ace cutting routines. And I absolutely love this routine. Something that I didn't perform a lot for a while, and then I started performing it a lot more over the last year, and it just kills every time. Ace cutting is one of those things that's a neat effect for spectators, but it's actually pretty powerful. So let's just get into it. Hopefully you guys saw an awesome performance because I haven't filmed it yet, but hopefully I find someone to do it on in person. Thank you to whoever that is, and I hope it was a dope performance. But with all that said, let's get into the breakdown of my Spectator ace cutting routine. All right, guys, so this trick is pretty great. So step 1 for this ace cutting routine is hand the deck out for a shuffle. I think that's one of the most important steps in an ace cutting routine. But this one uses an interesting bit of psychology. We're gonna have them shuffle once for real, okay? And then we're gonna be going through the deck to obtain control of those aces. But it is gonna be very logical, very justified. And then the thing is, we're gonna let them shuffle it again, okay? Obviously, if we were to just go through the cards, I mean, it could be an okay effect. It would be pretty decent, but the spectators might get the inclination that that's when you did something. So by having them shuffle a second time, and we're gonna do something a little bit sneaky, so it is a true shuffle, but there's something sneaky we're gonna do to maintain control of those aces. It's gonna allow us to sort of fuse those two shuffles, the true shuffle that they did before and the second shuffle at the end. It's gonna be able to mesh those together and make it feel like they truly shuffled the cards and we never really even looked through them. Like, yes, we're gonna look through them, but again, it's gonna be justified so that they understand why we do it. It's kind of forgotten. And then also, they're gonna be able to shuffle a second time right after that, so it doesn't matter anyways. And that shuffle is gonna be a genuine riffle shuffle, and it's gonna fuse in that genuine riffle shuffle with the true shuffling they do at the beginning, and it's just gonna really make it feel impossible and that this was a totally shuffled deck that we had absolutely no control over it. Step one, absolutely hand that deck out to shuffle and let them shuffle. Now, I like to routine this in a way that I sort of did in the performance video that I posted a few weeks ago. I like that story quite a lot, and so I say something like, ace cutting is one of the pinnacles in magic. In a trick like this, you might have the magician cut 4 piles and reveal that he's cut to the 4 aces. Now, obviously us magicians, we like to try to put the magic in your hands, in the spectator's hands. So the next evolution of this was to give the deck to a spectator like yourself and have them cut the cards and reveal that they cut to the 4 aces. Now, the thing with this trick is I could have a deck entirely of aces, and that would make this trick a whole lot easier. So it's important in an ace cutting routine, the perfect ace cutting routine, that I show you that all the cards are different and in no particular order. And it's important that they were in no particular order, because if I knew where any of those aces were, maybe I could do some sort of control or something like that. All right, so that's kind of how I intro this trick, right? Use whatever pattern you want, that's just what I use. I'll hand the deck out and I'll say, all right, so at this point I want you to shuffle, so there's no way any of us could know the order of this deck. So they're gonna shuffle, right? They take the cards back and you flip it over and you say, I really wanna prove to you that these cards are totally shuffled, okay? And this is where you're gonna cull those 4 aces. So, my theory on the cull, slow it down. It doesn't need to be super fast. I mean, if you can cull like Kiosta Kimlat, great, go ahead. I cannot. So, there's an ace near the top in this case, so I'm gonna spread past that and take care of that later. But as I'm going through, I'll see the first one. And because this is an ace cutting routine and they know about the aces, they're gonna have a little bit of an eye out for the aces, so you don't wanna, stop on them for any period of time, because that'll seem weird, but just kind of as you're going through, you see it and you can slow down as you get to it and just slowly cull it out like that. And if you watch the spread, I mean, you might be able to see my fingers underneath because of this angle, but that should have looked pretty good, right? So now you'll have the 4 aces at the top of the deck. Now I'll give a little comment about the cull once again. So for this, I'll like to either turn to the side or face down. And as I come to the ace, I'll kind of slow down and just cull it under really slowly like that. It doesn't need to be too fast. And I'm just explaining, here's what I'm saying, right? Let's go through what I say, because you don't want this to feel awkward. You want to make it feel like you're doing this with purpose and you always have something to say, right? So this is what I would say. So you can see here that all of these cards are totally different, right? None of these cards are in a particular order. You shuffled, so there's no way anyone could have control. But I just want to prove to you, like I said, ace cutting is very important, that you can see that all these cards are different. And I just didn't want your eyes to play a trick on you, right? You can really see that those cards are mixed. And I didn't want your eyes to be deceiving you. You saw that. All right, and in that, I've called those 4 aces. The biggest thing with that, guys, just make sure you have a script that's long enough for you to get through the whole deck in case the aces are near the top, right? Because you do not want this to happen. You don't want to be like this. You don't want to say, all right, guys, you can see that all these cards are different, right? Like, you need to have something to say so it doesn't feel like you're searching for the cards. So for me, it's, I want you to see that all of these cards are different, and I'll be slow when I say that so I can spread as much of the deck as I can. I want you to see all of these cards are different. They're in no particular order because you shuffled, right? Sometimes I like to pause, it kind of breaks it up a little bit, doesn't feel like I'm searching. You shuffled these, so there's no way I can have any control. And like I said, in an ace cutting routine, it's really important that you see all these cards are different. So that's why I'm showing you, so you can prove to your eyes that they're all completely different and in no order. And then, here's where we do this really sneaky shuffle, right? So now we have the 4 aces on the top of the deck. Now we're gonna let the spectator shuffle again, but you do need a table for this routine because for this special shuffle you're gonna do, and for the actual ace cutting, you need a table to cut the packets on. But here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna say, you know, just to make sure that those cards are in a completely random order and that no one knows where those cards are, I'm gonna let you shuffle one last time. So this makes sense with what we said before, and if they start to get suspicious about us having maybe controlled the cards or done something sneaky, this second shuffle will totally disprove that in their mind, because even if you did do something sneaky, well, I'm shuffling again anyway. So what you do is something very, very neat here. You're gonna cut the cards for them in the context of just putting them in front of them and letting them shuffle. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull heavy on the top packet. So that means you're gonna pull many more cards from the top than you are from the bottom. It doesn't need to be many, but more. You know, you can see the difference there. I'd say probably about 1/3 and 2/3 is what you wanna aim for. Don't spend a lot of time, just pull like that. And this isn't the end of the world if you don't do this perfectly, but it does help. So what you do is you pull heavy from the top. So you're pulling about 2/3 of the cards from the top over, and then leaving you with about 1/3 of the bottom. And you put those in front of the spectator. You say, just shuffle the corners together, but don't push them in just yet, okay? Here's what happens. Because this packet is so much larger, try this yourself. You're much more likely to leave these cards on top of the other cards. And what would you know? Those cards are those 4 aces, right? So this is giving us a much higher chance that the spectator is gonna shuffle those aces and leave them on top of the deck. Now, if they don't, there's no worries, no problems. I'm gonna show you what we do. It's very, very cool what we're gonna do. But this just gives you that opportunity for that to happen, and then you can square up those cards right away and not have to do anything extra. Again, if you're not sure if they, you know, maybe they only got 3 of the cards on top, then just go into the next step. So after they've done the corners together, you're gonna square them up and do the Tamariz style spread where you show that all the cards are shuffled and you're gonna push them together, okay? But here's what you're gonna do. Let's say that you do this and then they shuffle, but the aces are not on top, they're actually underneath. Here's what you do. So you're gonna straighten out the cards like this and start to go into the Tamariz sort of display here. As you get near the end, you start to twist these cards out as you pull back, and that's gonna unlace them, okay? And now you know this is the top packet, so the second they come undone, you push down on this corner, and that's gonna kind of lift these cards up a little bit like that. You can also just kind of pick them up under here with the thumb like this, but if you push down and start to close again, those cards will pop all on top of this packet as you push the Tamariz display together and square everything up. And it looks like a genuine shuffle. It looks so chaotic, yet you've just manipulated those 4 aces back on top of the deck. So from the front here, let's say they shuffle and the aces end up underneath this top packet. So we're gonna square up, pull back for the Tamariz and come like this, and then instantly push it all together like that, square it up, and the aces are back on top. One more time, and I'll show you at a bit of a normal speed here for what I would do. So, and as I'm doing this, I'd say, so you can see all these cards are different, and I can just push those all together like this. You can see them all shuffled, all mixed together, and then we have the 4 aces controlled once again. So that is a wonderful subtlety to control a bit of a top stock when the spectator shuffles. So now, the position we're in, from an impromptu shuffle deck, we have the 4 aces in control. Next step is very important. We need the spectator to cut cards from the bottom of the deck. A lot of times people will take the deck and they'll cut off packets like this, which is okay in this situation, but it's better if they do it like this, and this tends to prevent them from doing this thing where they'll cut like this and then they'll be like, and they'll like start to change their mind, right? You'll see often spectators will go like this, and then they'll kind of go, oh, and they'll have some left over and they'll start to kind of like change them to like even them out or something weird. And you definitely don't want them to put any cards on top of those aces. So I always do it as an example. I'll pick up the deck and I'll say, all right, I want you to cut the cards just like this in 4 spots, wherever you would like. Cut it into 4 piles. They'll take the packet, cut it into 4 piles wherever they like. If you see them go to start to move some cards, say, no. You know, that was intuitive. I don't want you to mess this up. That's exactly where you wanted to cut the first time, so leave it. It's all up to your intuition, right? Then you're gonna wanna square up these packs a little bit. It's just gonna make everything easier, particularly the one with the aces. It's gonna help. And now here's where you'd recap. You say, I want you to think about this. You shuffled I proved to your eyes that these cards were under no control, and you cut to 4 spots wherever you want. I did nothing. Watch this. Now here's this genius move. You're gonna pick up the packet that is furthest away from the 4 aces. Okay, so if the aces are over here, you're gonna start with this one. If they're over here, you're gonna start with this one. So you pick up that packet and you push the first card forward, a random card, right? Then you're gonna take this card and put it on top. Now with this card, make it very obvious that you're only taking 1 card. Usually, I'll kind of grip it like this from the edges and very cleanly take that 1 card. Now don't flash it, but place it right on top like that. So you do that, very clean, put it on top. With this one, you wanna get a little bit more covered. You wanna mimic the action that you're gonna do for this packet. So this packet, you're gonna be doing like a biddle grip sort of thing. So this packet, we're gonna do a biddle grip and just take that 1 card and place it on top. It should be similar to this one, but just a little bit less clean. This one you wanna do as clean as possible, but similar to that biddle grip. So I usually do like this, open at the fingertips like that. Similar to a biddle grip, not quite. Then this one, I come in full biddle grip, but and I still just kind of go like that. You know, I don't go too slow, too fast. Just you really want this to be a fluid pace, right? So it's kind of like this. You take one, take this one, and boom. Now this one you want to mimic this one exactly, because what you're going to do, you're going to come here and you're going to pick up at least those 4 aces. So in this case, I probably have about 5 cards here. And you're going to pick it up exactly like this. Bring it over, place it on top, and square everything up. And now you're gonna instantly, without hesitation, deal those 4 aces that they presumably cut to right on top of each pile. And you have this beautiful display, and you end, and they get to see what happened. It's great that you end with the 4 piles still, because it reminds them of the trick and really makes them understand what happened. So let's go over that again. And I'll go over some of the nuances and subtleties here. So you want it to kind of look like this at regular speed. So I'll take the top card of this packet, top card of this packet, top card of this packet, and top card of this packet, and you have cut to all 4 aces. So you see, I didn't skip a beat. You don't want to go like too fast, but you definitely want to be fluid and have all of these at the same speed. So you don't want to come super fast when you take all those aces, but look how hidden that is. With that biddle grip, it's impossible to tell that there's more than 1 card. Doesn't really matter the angle, like besides that angle, but why would you ever go like this, right? And it's so quick too that it's perfect. Like it's so awesome. The reason I like to do this one so clean is it instills in their mind that I'm just taking the top card. Then this one, you know, they still have that, you know, he's taking the top card, he's taking the top card, and then they see that they won't notice the grip change, but then it doesn't raise any suspicion when you do the grip change for this one. Now, the nice thing about this is you can take the whole packet and this thing will still work. So it doesn't matter how many cards you take as long as you take more than the aces. So that's what's nice. You pretty much can't mess this up as long as you take more than the aces. Obviously you want to take as little as possible, because otherwise this packet could, you know, change from this size to this size and it looks a little funny, but you know, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. The other nuance here is you want everything to be fluid, right? So all the same speed and all the same sort of motions. Like for me, I do that little, as I pick up each one, I kind of flick it this way before I put it on. So when I come here, it's gonna be the same thing, right? The second you put these on, you're instantly squaring and dealing. Don't skip a beat. That's really gonna do that sort of visual retention, and they're gonna see the moment that you're dealing those 4 aces, and there will be no way in their mind that they could have, you could have switched those aces. So super clean, super strong, and such an easy trick. One last thing you might be thinking about is, what if this last pile is so small to the point where it's like 4, even let's say 5 cards? Obviously you can't really do it then. You could kind of go back on what I said. If you have them cut from the top like this, it's more likely that they'll take a big chunk of cards first, rather than if they cut this way, they might cut off too much and be left with a smaller amount. That's never really happened to me though, and I prefer this. I find there's less room for error with them putting something on top of these aces. Another thing you could do if they go like this, right, and they cut like 5 cards here and it's a small amount, you could kind of just gesture over here, say, here, these packets are pretty big, give them a few more cuts, right? So then they'll cut, you know, let's say these 2 are particularly big here, right? Then they'll cut those and you'll say, perfect. And now we can totally switch up the positions of your cuts and just, you know, make it a little bit more chaotic, and in that you added more cards here. I don't know, that's just a quick half-baked idea, but I wouldn't really worry about that too much for this. So time for some uses and other ideas. So of course, you could skip the cull with this, guys. if you're not good at the cull or don't like it, then, you know, it does ruin the impromptu nature, but it's still almost impromptu, no setup. You could just take this and that in between tricks, pull the aces to the top, and then you could do some false shuffles, and then let the spectator do that special shuffle that I just taught you guys, and it's, you know, the same effect really. I just do it from an impromptu nature. I like that. So in that sense, that's why I need to do the cull and have the first shuffle and then the second shuffle. But it is still an amazing effect and very logical to do it the other way. Another thing you could do is to bow the aces if you're worried about this right here. When you're picking up all the aces, again guys, don't worry about it, because as long as you take more than the aces, you're fine. But after your cull and the aces are on top, before they shuffle, you can spread and say, all right, so we don't know the order of any of these cards, and you're gonna catch a break under those aces. And then as you turn to yourself for a second, you can just pull up on the aces like this, you know, out of view. And then those aces will have a very slight bow at the back. And then even when they shuffle, they won't notice it. You do your little subtlety there, square everything up. And then when they cut, you'll see that there's a nice little brief under the aces, and you can pick up easily at the 4 aces. Another method of doing that once you get your break is you can take the pinky and squeeze a little bit. So kind of like this. You have your break and you're gonna push in with the pinky, and it's gonna create a bow in this direction. It's a little bit more subtle, right? You can kind of almost do it with the deck in view. But once you have your break here, it's as simple as just pressing in, and those cards kind of bevel up a little bit. And then you can get a nice little sort of brief or step there too. So that's a few other ideas, guys. I hope you enjoy. All right, guys, so that is my ace cutting routine. I absolutely love it. Think it is super dope, and I use it all the time. You guys are gonna get amazing reactions with this just because of how clean it is. You know, there's so many nice ideas into it, and I love the impromptu nature, the no setup and everything. So I hope you guys love this as much as I do. Let me know if you perform it. I'd really love to know. Let me know if you got any good reactions, or if you have any further questions or ideas as well. I'd love to hear about it. I'd like to welcome all the new subs, of course, everyone who has joined the family in the last couple of weeks. Welcome, and I'm very happy that you're here, and I hope you enjoy my style of content. I got a lot of awesome videos coming out. Me and Sean have a lot more stuff coming together, more sleight offs, more jams. I got a giveaway coming soon if we're at 1,000. I don't know when this video is coming out, but if I haven't announced it yet, there will be a great giveaway for 1,000 subs. I have a really cool idea, so hopefully I can pull it off. If it hasn't been announced yet, we'll take this as an announcement. There's a giveaway coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that notification bell. But guys, with all of that said, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.